The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Ambar Garcia, Brian Broaddus, Patrick Walker, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Thursday, October 12th, 2023, season 19, episode number 51. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, and today we'll continue our breakdown of Cowboys versus Chargers. Today we're going to look at Cowboys defense versus the Chargers offense, dive in a little deeper on that. This is actually going to be our final show of the week, so we'll also get to some picks here before the end of the show. We got some things going on tomorrow, so we won't be having a show tomorrow, but we'll get to our picks by the end of the show so you guys will hear what we think is going to happen this weekend. So let's get it rolling. I want to start first today, Brian, with yesterday Cowboys make a roster move, add a linebacker to the roster, Rashaan Evans. What do you have in the way of a scouting report on this guy?
Yeah, I'm glad we got to finally do that. My gang of seven are my general manager and player personnel friends around the league, and I always kind of lean on them because they're the ones that watch the tape and build emergency boards and all that. Rashaan Evans was a guy that when I asked him, I said, give me some linebacker names. When Van Der Esch went down, Rashaan Evans was the number one guy on four of the lists that of these general manager and player personnel friends I have. And so I was good to, it was nice to see it that way. Just kind of a thumbnail on him. They was talking about how he's an instinctive inside linebacker. He's got some thump to him, high motor, high effort type of guy. The thing that they talk about with him is everybody was mentioning he has played a lot of football. And that's something when we start to talk about, Ambar always asks about, well, is he going to be ready? Is he going to be one of these guys you bring in? Is he in shape? Is he, there's all these questions, the ramp up. They make a really big deal about that. But everybody felt like that Evans was one of those guys that was ready to play. And so that's, I could see why he was first on a lot of these teams' list of their emergency boards. And so that in itself, I think bodes pretty well, but I think the thing that everybody was talking about was about this guy is a physical player. He will take on blocks. He'll get off blocks. He'll play in the running game, and the effort and the motor, all those things that you kind of like in a player, and they'll get him acclimated to what the Cowboys are doing scheme wise, and then incorporate him and let him go to work. So. Everybody that I talked to seemed to be on board with this. Look at the Cowboys. They have a really nice track record with their pro department and their ability to go out and find guys. Either find guys off the street, poach guys from other teams, or sign guys, trade for guys. So I think they're on the right path with this signing right now.
Why was a guy like this available? Why was he on the street?
You never know. Sometimes you get to a point where maybe a guy's a veteran guy, and maybe it's not the exact scheme fit that you want, and there are other players to become available. We've got this now with the XFL and the USFL, that a little bit more of an access to go out and get players. So maybe some players that were with teams won't get an opportunity again, or they get passed by because they're not the fit. And scouting's not perfect. We miss guys all the time. And maybe it's one of those things where, okay, we kind of have an idea what he is. He's an emergency board guy, and in the Cowboys' sake right now, or the Cowboys where they are right now, they're in an emergency just because of the lack of depth. But sometimes too, you have a situation where these personnel departments just kind of pigeonhole a guy and put him to the side, and then other teams are kind of like, well, wait a minute, we know this guy. We have a history with this guy. Oh, a coach knew this guy. Mm-hmm. That's George Edwards. That's how you got Curse. George Edwards had a history with Curse at Minnesota, and so then sometimes you get guys that way, and it's not perfect, but that's probably why he was on the street. Teams not really thinking about him in a way that now the Cowboys, well, wait a minute, this is a better fit. We've got to find something better of all the guys that they worked out I'm sure he was the best one on their list.
Yeah.
I think for those that are asking why the Eagles released him from the practice squad, it's just a numbers game for the Eagles as far as positional content for them as practice squad. I mean, they're running heavy on cornerback at the practice squad. They got 3 cornerbacks. They got 2-3 wide receivers. So it's just when you look at that and the fact that they already have another linebacker in Van Sumeren on the practice squad. They've already designated Nakobe Dean for return. They're expecting him back on the field. They just don't have that need, but they have a need for CB depth. They have a need to make sure their wide receiver core stays strong as far as depth is concerned. So when you look at it from their aspect, you look at a guy, one of the linebackers was probably going to end up going, and it just ended up being Rashaan Evans. Their loss is hopefully the Cowboys game.
Yeah, we had a chance to interview Brian Baldinger from the NFL Network yesterday on 105.3 The Fan, and we asked him, because Baldy he lives in that area, that Philadelphia. He has that background, and I believe Gavin Dawson asked him, well, why did the Eagles move on? And to Patrick's point, you're absolutely right about they're struggling at corner right now in their secondary. But he was saying, he goes, it didn't feel like there was anything that was a negative as far as
nothing wrong
he's
with
a bad guy.
Right.
He's being problems. He's being combative and all that. No, it was just it was like Patrick was talking about, and it was very well put, a numbers thing with them. So Baldy was very much a fan of the guy. He goes, listen, I've seen him play at other places, Tennessee. He goes, at one time this guy was a force to deal with when you watched him play. So hopefully the Cowboys, in week 6, catch a break on one of these things.
I mean, the talent is definitely there, and this is a guy who's not, he's used to the big stage. I mean, he comes from the Alabama program, and he understands the pressure of playing and performing in the NFL. He's a first-round pick, and I mean, he's been there, done that as far as pressure is concerned, and that's what he's coming into, a pressure-packed situation. Cowboys coming off of a butt whooping, and they lose their green dot, in LVE, which is also one of their best run defenders. So yeah, he's being asked to step in and do a lot. The ability is definitely there. Question is, where is he at? He's only 27, so we're not talking about a 32 or 33-year-old. He's still fairly young by linebacker standards. There's still a lot of potential for him to come in and be that impact guy. But like we talked about on yesterday, there's no point in pretending that, one guy is going to be the one that solves the LVE equation until LVE returns. But I will say Evans has as good of a chance as anyone to at least help them resolve that.
After the Zeke situation during the offseason, heading into training camp, him still being available and teams not really picking him up yet, I've changed my tune on guys that are available, or like becoming more open-minded.
Yeah, they're mercenaries.
Yeah.
Like T.Y. Hilton was a mercenary.
So you never know. And again, Zeke's situation, totally off topic, and his production in New England has been, But the point is, I've kind of become more open-minded about that and how you evaluate certain talents and why there are still guys that are good or can be good that are still available, or they're out there, but you always initially go into that thought and it's like, well, if this person was any good, why is still out there in the streets?
But also keep in mind, free agency is always a two-way street. So, once he was released from the Eagles, and like Brian and I were talking about, it was a positional numbers game for them. They just didn't need that depth at linebacker. He's released, and now he's able to pick and choose where he wants to go. And then, Dallas comes up as the blinking light. They lose LVE. So maybe those other opportunities weren't, such as that you're being thrown in as a starter. Maybe it was, we'll sign you to the practice squad and we'll see how it goes. Now, even if the Cowboys do sign him to the practice squad, he's going to get a ton of burn. He's getting early elevations. Often he's getting a ton of burn. So if you look at it from that capacity, maybe he was waving off those others, waiting for the right spot. And this, it works out well for him.
Yeah, you hope this is the reincarnation of a Alabama linebacker that was also a first-round pick back in the day.
See where you're going with this.
Yeah, Rolando McClain.
That dude has talk about having some thump to you. He had some thump to him.
My only thing that I'm so disappointed about Rolando McClain.
Only?
No, this is no, man. Rolando McClain was all right. I'm disappointed I never got to go fishing with him.
Yeah.
I always wanted to go
He
fish.
was a big fishing guy.
He loved to fish. Like his house was on fire at one time, and I think he was fishing, and he just kind of watched it burn while he was fishing.
gosh.
So, I mean,
That is
he's one of those guys. But no, Rolando McClain. If they could if you find out, we all know about a big thumping linebacker.
Yeah.
That was Rolando McClain.
Man, he could have been such a force, a continued force.
Yeah.
for
But you
them.
know what I love about this particular move is the fact that I think the linebacking room needs some veteran presence, and I think you're bringing in a guy that has some experience that could help Damone Clark because you really want to see him develop in only his second year. So I think this move could be not only a guy that can of the best of what's out there and available to you, but it also can have other ramifications to help you kind of develop some of your younger guys in that room without having LVE.
Because a couple weeks ago you brought in Michael Jones. He's a younger guy, can't necessarily give too much mentorship to Damone Clark. Worked out Brandon Smith, but Brandon Smith, young guy, some familiarity there from the Penn State time he spent with Micah Parsons before Micah opted out in 2020. But I mean, when it comes to the options as far as who has a ton of NFL experience, Rashaan Evans, 67 starts in I think 73-ish NFL games, former first-round pick, knows how to be dropped into a pressure-packed situation, comes from a big program where he was an All-American talent. So, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer that he would, like Brian said, would be at the top of several people's lists, and the Cowboys just kind of fortuitously looked into him because if he's not available and you go into this absence of LVE, you're kind of up against it. And you're going to ask Damone Clark to step up and do more, but still trying to fill that hole is going to be a challenge.
And just to give you an idea of the production he had just last year while he was with Philadelphia, he had 86 tackles, not a bad year for a linebacker. Yeah. Had 6 tackles for a loss, and he had 2 sacks. So he's a guy that can get a little bit of production, and especially when you're talking about this time of the year, having to go out and find somebody. I'll take that guy. That guy is probably much better than anything else you're going to find.
You're not finding this guy in week 13.
Exactly.
That's not going to happen.
That's exactly right.
And his numbers, some of those were career highs. His tackle tally last year, career highs, and that includes not only combined, but his solo tackles, career highs. So I mean, he had a very, very solid year last year.
And I said Philadelphia. I'm sorry, I was looking at Atlanta last year.
Atlanta.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we will jump into our breakdown. Brian will tell us what he's found about this Los Angeles Charger offense and how it matches up with the Dallas defense. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Cowboys fans, after that move, we've just coined the term Rowdy Replay. Let's roll back the tape.
Okay, there's our mascot Rowdy cheering on the boys. And now he's on his phone, on his Bank of America mobile banking app?
Staying on top of his finances with his virtual financial assistant, Erica.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive. Cowboys fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can't-stop-banking.
Erica is only available in the English language. You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Member FDIC.
Welcome back into Dear Doctor, the show where I answer life's questions with an ice-cold can of Dr. Pepper. Sheila, let's hear from our next caller, would you?
Dear Doctor, my friend supported me during a tough time, but what's the right gift that says, thanks for being a shoulder to cry on?
Okay, this one's easy. I say give her a delicious Dr. Pepper. Nothing says, thanks, girl, better than a one-of-a-kind soda. Yes, any Dr. Pepper flavor will do. Now, just a reminder that I don't need to be a real doctor to know that Dr. Pepper is the one you deserve.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag & Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag & Turf, the official Ag & Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to the break.
The most action-packed motorsports experience in the world returns to Arlington. Head to AT&T Stadium this Saturday, October 14th for Monster Jam. Tickets are available now at SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
You know, as you mentioned, fast-moving and action-packed, I thought you were going to mention our guy, Stephen Thomas.
Yes.
Who's got a race this weekend. For those who don't know, he's like a friend of the program.
He is a friend of the program,
and
yeah.
has been very – you weren't around back when Stephen – like one training camp just invited our entire media team.
Got a bus.
The entire media team.
See, that's just
sent
fun.
a bus
You
to
missed
pick us
out.
up
I
from
did
camp
miss out.
and take us to his
Open
house
bar
in,
on the bus.
in Malibu, I guess it was,
Yeah.
like right on
Shaggy.
the beach. And had a special what was it, the chef from
The chef that wasn't chopped.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he like cooked this whole meal for us. It was a
Just
phenomenal
gonna
day.
rub it in my face.
But that's our guy,
Just
man.
gonna rub it in my
Oh,
face.
no, I'm giving little praises to
Steven. Well, yeah, he runs. If you're familiar with the movie Ford vs. Ferrari,
Yes,
Steven.
sir.
Okay, now Steven and I, we talked about this. I'll try and make this quick. His racing career started on a bar napkin in the Cowboys club. We were
Huge
sitting-
fan, by the way.
Huge fan of the Cowboys. Yeah. He's a lawyer. He's one of the most successful lawyers in the country. And so, but he's a huge Cowboys fan. Well, now he's a huge racing fan, but he's known as a gentleman driver. And so, if you've seen the movie Ford vs. Ferrari, 24 hours of the Rolex 24, he's run it. He's won at Le Mans. He's won at Watkins Glen. This guy's like he just has been a driver for 3 years now, and he's won at all these historic tracks. Nuts. And he won in Indianapolis 2 weeks ago, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course there. And he drives an LMP2 car, which is a Le Mans prototype car. Running for the championship this weekend in Atlanta at Road Atlanta. So going to see him because of the Cowboys Monday night game. But I know everybody here at DallasCowboys.com is
we are fans of him.
He had when we went to his house, he had a room. Do you guys remember where he had a big screen, like a projector or something?
A simulator.
A simulator, and it's like you're playing a real video
game. It reminds me of that
but
new
with
movie,
everything.
Gran Turismo, where these kids that are playing games that they get a chance to race.
My Gran Turismo. I actually have that set up. I have a Gran Turismo sim set up at home.
This thing he has. He went to England. He went to McLaren and got it's a $200,000 simulator. And put it so literally when he drives, he can drive any track in the world. And he puts his gloves on, his helmet, and straps in. And then next thing you know, that thing is moving and it's shaking and moving. And you see him working his feet. But he's running for the championship, the IMSA championship. It's called Petit Le Mans. Is what we're running.
Good luck to our guy.
Yes,
make sure
enough talking.
Let's give him all our love because we're rooting for him this weekend.
I know
hopefully he gets a big win.
Yeah, people in the mentions are freaking out right now.
It's all good. They'll figure it out. All right, here we go, Brian. Give us a breakdown of this Los Angeles Charger offense.
Yeah, this is clearly a different offense than what we've seen in the previous season with the Chargers because of Kellen Moore being there. As a unit, they do things that we've kind of familiar with Kellen Moore. But you've noticed, and the numbers will tell you, but also on tape will tell you, they run more slants, they run more go routes or vertical routes, and they run more wide receiver screens. They like to run the ball out of what we call a sidecar, where it's just next to the quarterback, or they'll go pistol where they're directly behind. Mm-hmm. So you'll either see the running back next to your Justin Herbert there, and they'll hand him the ball on the inside, or they'll turn and spin and hand it to him from directly behind. But that's kind of the two primarily ways that they like to run the football. Their best players, their best offensive threats are Keenan Allen, Jared Everett, and then Austin Eckler. In my opinion, I think these are the when you start to talk about the players that the Cowboys have got to be alert for during this football game, those are the three main guys. I mentioned the quarterback there, Justin Herbert. He's one of these young and up and coming guys, super talented. You can't draw them up any better physically than what this guy looks. Total package when it comes to his makeup, his skill. He's a quick decision maker. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He's not going to hold it. He's not going to delay in the process. He gets through his reads quickly there, and he'll deliver a strike. Physically, he stands really tall in the pocket. But he's had his share of plays. If you watch the pressure plays that he's dealt with, there's a lot of him getting out of there and running and trying to make something happen. He's going to find ways to escape. Cowboys got to be alert for that. He is willing to run. So that might be a little bit of something you have to keep an eye on right there. He could throw on the line with deadly accuracy. He doesn't make the receivers at all work for these balls. I mean, he usually puts it right where they need to be. But you got to make sure you get him on the ground when you have the chance, because I've seen him bounce off in the film, and the Vikings had him sacked, and he's spinning around in the pocket, and the next thing you know, it's like a 25-yard pass down the field for a first down. So got to wrap this guy up for sure when you get the opportunity in the pocket. I mentioned Keenan Allen. He's Herbert's go-to guy. The quarterback rating of 130.5 when he's targeting this guy. And so he's yet to throw an interception, by the way, when throwing the ball in Keenan Allen's direction. Keenan's a strong-handed catcher. This guy can't run out of sight, okay? He's just not. He's not going to scare you with his speed, but what he'll scare you with is his initial burst off the line to gain some separation. He makes his share of contested catches. He's a dangerous player when you put him inside, when you put him outside. It really kind of doesn't matter because he'll body up defenders and use his size to his advantage. He catches the ball well on the move, and he's an outstanding finisher. And they'll line him up all over the place. Quentin Williams has kind of taken over for Mike Williams. Mike Williams suffered a knee injury in the Minnesota game, so you don't have to worry about Mike Williams.
That's a huge loss.
That's a huge loss for them because he was having a pretty decent year. But Quentin Williams, if you follow the draft show here on our platform, we talked a lot about him last year from TCU. He's got that downfield ability. He's got size, the body control. He can be a difficult guy to handle in those situations. He's kind of feeling his way right now as far as learning how to deal with the press coverage stuff. They'll knock him around a little bit. When corners walk up on him, he kind of gets a little bit skittish. So, be ready to maybe make it uncomfortable for him. Joshua Palmer is another receiver there. He's got a running back build in it. You have to almost do a double take when he's out wide. You're like, wait a minute, why they got a running back? Oh wait, that's number 5. That's Palmer. So you have to kind of understand what you're getting. He's a really good run after catch guy. He can make things happen with the ball in his hands. He was that way at Tennessee, and he plays that way in the NFL. He's much more of a faster guy than he really is a quick guy, but you do see the ball go down the field to him. I mentioned Gerald Everett, the tight end. He's been outstanding for Justin Herbert early this season. He's an H-back move guy. He's got the receiver movement and skills with the hands. You see him lining up at a lot of different spots. He really excels when they get him in space. He's one of the better receivers the Chargers have when it's creating separation. If you look at those numbers and metrics, he's right over about 4 yards of separation. So he's open a lot in these routes, and that's why that Herbert's able to get him the football. He's not the best blocker, but he's not afraid to block. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He's not going to just smash it and then drive you out of the hole. He's going to kind of get in the way and try and turn you. Donald Parham is the other tight end, but Parham's been dealing with a wrist sprain. It happened in the last game, and they had the week off. They're hopeful that by practicing all week that he can maybe play in this game. But those are the 2 tight ends you have to worry about. I mentioned Austin Eckler. I think he's a tremendous player. Mm-hmm. You just watch him. He's been in the league 7 years now. He's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring injury. He's a compact, tough runner. He's got outstanding vision, patience. He can finish runs that way. He can be a tough guy to bring on the ground due to his running style. He's built real low to the ground, and he's got a powerful lower body or a base. The leg drive, the power. Where he's very difficult to deal with is that he is around the goal line. When they hand him the ball, he finds these creases. I know people that play fantasy football love this guy because he's always scoring touchdowns. He's one of those guys that he kind of takes it off tackle and it's kind of muddy, and then he jumps back inside, and next thing you know, he's in the end zone. Mm-hmm. The good thing but the good thing about him is Kellen Moore doesn't throw screens to the running backs. He'll throw screens to the wide receivers. So, but in the past, this guy was really a good screen catcher, but you don't see him catch screens anymore. So that's but after watching McCaffrey catch that screen on that 1st and 15 play or whatever it was, don't be surprised if Kellen Moore, they'll work it in some way. But this guy has a real nose for the goal line. Their offensive line has been a little bit of an issue for them. And it's funny because they're a team that has invested in their offensive line. Rashawn Slater and Zion Johnson are both first-round picks, and they both play on the left side together. But the interesting thing is that Rashawn Slater has had some problems in pass protection. He has not been as good as we've seen him in the previous couple of years. When I went back and watched the pressures, I was just curious. There was a lot of times where Slater, the left tackle, was having some issues. Now, you're dealing with some teams that can rush the passer. The Raiders can rush the passer. The Vikings can rush the passer. The Cowboys can rush the passer. So keep an eye on Slater at that left tackle spot, and because there were some times where they were getting the edge on him, and it was a struggle for him. It was only because of his athletic ability that it saved him from disasters a couple of different times. The guy that I think is the weakest of the group here is Trey Pipkins, who plays right tackle. There was a number of times he's one of those guys that gets way out over his feet when he pass blocks. He's scared that people are going to try and get by him, so he has to get his hands on people quick, so he gets a little bit overextended. So Pipkins would be the guy that I would attack, but keep an eye on Slater. It's just not been as clean in those games, those 4 games that I watched on him. I was surprised the pressures that he gave up, but that was something I didn't expect. My final thing is they're a pull trap guards. We all remember Kellen Moore, how he used to run. He'd like to pull guys, especially down on the goal line. They like to pull. Remember Zach Martin used to pull and trap and stuff like that. They still do the same thing with the way they do it with their guards and their tackles. And so they like to try and get that. That's something that we've seen before with Kellen Moore. I will say this: I think Herbert and Eckler mask for some of the blocking sins of this group as a whole. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if the Cowboys can take advantage of that.
I was going back and I looked at the game that they had their worst passing day. It was versus Las Vegas in Week 4. During that game, they were 13. Justin Herbert was 13 of 24, 54% completion rate, not very good.
Yeah.
Only 167 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. What did you see in that game particularly that maybe was the reason why they had their worst production?
Yeah, I think it was the pressure that they were dealing with. They did not handle the Vegas defensive line.
Max Crosby's a handful.
Max Crosby is a pain in the ass to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and I don't mean to curse like that, but it really is. I mean, he is a problem to deal with because what happens is the way that Vegas moves him around, and they've got inside guys that cause pressure to get pushed. When you're bad at both tackle spots, we saw that when you played the Giants in Week 1. When you're bad at both tackle spots, that makes your scheme, your offensive scheme look really poor. The Vikings did the same thing. I mean, the Vikings were able to get pressure on these guys as well. It's just teams that have that type of pass rush ability. I don't remember the Titans game of that being as effective, and the Titans can rush the passer a little bit, but not like the Raiders can. But with Crosby, that was a big issue for them. They were able to take advantage of this, and it was a home game too for the Chargers, which you would think, oh, maybe crowd noise got it, maybe something was a problem there. No, it was a home game for the Chargers. They just didn't do a very good job of handling the key elements of what the Raider defensive line presents to you.
So that being said, is this a week where? I mean, if you're talking about moving Micah back to linebacker, is this a week that maybe you say, hey, let's just mix the safeties in and let them be linebackers with Damone Clark, and let's keep Micah rushing the passer?
Honestly, I feel like that, to me, the offense is going to dictate how your defense plays in this football game. You've got to find a way to get ahead, put points on the board. The Chargers are capable of coming back in games, but you've got to find a way to make them. The 49ers were never behind. And that way it kind of dictates the way that they play. They could do things and with that. If you make the Chargers one-dimensional, their quarterback's good enough. They have skill guys and all that. But the pressure, I've seen pressure give them problems. But we saw pressure give San Francisco problems. It's a matter of, can your offense generate enough points and continue drives and then make the Chargers kind of become a one-dimensional team? Hey, don't let them be balanced. Make them throw the ball where you can maybe take advantage of that pass rush.
Your corners are definitely going to have their work cut out for them, and your linebackers as well, because obviously what looms large is the likely return of Austin Eckler, which marries to the absence of LVE, and we'll get to the injury update. I have an injury update here in a moment. So, will Rashaan Evans play, and if he plays this coming Monday, how quickly can he get into Dan Quinn's system? What does it look like for Damone Damone Clark to have more snaps? What does it look like for Malik Jefferson to be thrown into the fire in a big way in that capacity? But I will also say that when it comes to trying to contain the run game, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Next Gen Stats, and I was looking at it yesterday, and I just wanted to revisit it during Brian's excellent scouting report. Unlike the Cowboys, who are still trying to figure out things in the offensive backfield with Tony Pollard, and you want to mix in Hunter, you want to mix in Deuce Vaughn, the Chargers don't do any of that. They look at a single back and they say, it's your game. Yeah. You're going to have to make this happen for us. They don't run. They've literally run 0 from a 21. Yeah. They've run 0 22 personnel. Contrarily, the Cowboys, as they're trying to figure things out, they've run 19 plays through this first 5 weeks from 21. And I say that to say, in 21 being a 2-back set, what I'm saying is, if the Cowboys can find a way to at least contain Eckler, they don't have to worry about the duality of, oh, well, there's a 2-back set. Who's the blocker and who's the decoy and who's getting the ball? It's just a matter of saying, we got to stop this guy. So from that capacity, it makes it a little bit more decisive. Then the execution comes into play. So, but to Brian's point, Eckler is he's more than a handful. So you got to key in on him. But at least you know that they run typically a single back when they have a back there. So not much to key in on, but the one you got to key in on is a big deal.
Yeah, we've seen it before. We've lived this with Kellen Moore. What happens when he wants to play with a fullback? He'll put a tight end back there.
Yeah, right.
You know, all of a sudden he'll put Parham back there in the backfield and be a lead block, and it won't be effective. They're better off running out of a single back than they are running with a tight end that gets in the way of Eckler trying to find the hole.
Yep. And really quickly, because I know we got to go to break. See, I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the flow in there. LVE is heading to IR. That's been confirmed this morning by Mike McCarthy. Nashawn Wright will see his practice window opened this week, so he will have 21 days to show that he's ready for active roster. Otherwise, he has to revert to season-ending injured reserve. Peyton Hendershot is now a candidate for IR with that ankle injury, so that is very, very interesting. Likely means, obviously, Sean McEwen. Do they sign him to the active roster? And, you know, what's about to be some roster shuffling because of IR moves. Kevontae Turpin will start today with the rehab group, but he has a chance to practice, and Mike McCarthy said that Kevontae is beating down the door to actually practice. So
it's amazing. I thought
a high ankle sprain.
That thing came off a high ankle 4-6. You say the word high ankle, I'm thinking it might as well just be broken. Yeah. You know, anytime you say high before anything, well, some things it's okay, but there's, you know, but this particular case, I mean, I thought the absolute worst watching him go off that field the other day, and listen to your guys' reports, you know, from the locker room.
Well, I will say this: Nick reminded me we've seen a player come back within a week of a high ankle sprain. We saw, I think it was Jason Witten do it. Yeah, and I think he mentioned another. He mentioned another player. I can't remember. Yeah, I know. Right, the guy played with lacerated spleen, so he's a little different than most people. Yeah. But Nick mentioned one other guy, and I couldn't remember who it was. But it was another player he mentioned as well that came back pretty quick off a high ankle sprain. But obviously, it's a little different when you're Kevontae Turpin and your best asset is running. That's a little different, like coming back from a high ankle sprain that quickly. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, he can get it together and he can play this week. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back. Got more questions for this panel about the Cowboys defense versus this Charger offense. We'll be back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. There's no appointment needed and no waiting room. Yep, you heard that correctly. Take 5 is so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's fast, friendly, and simple service at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Back to the break.
All right, here we go. Head to the pro shop at Northeast Mall in Fort Worth, Texas. Oh, excuse me, Arlington, Texas, not Fort Worth. Arlington, Texas. I don't know why I said Fort Worth. On Saturday, October 15th, between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. for Cowboys Collections on Tour. See Rare Team Archives. Customize headwear. Grab a gift with a purchase and enter for a chance to win a giveaway. Stay tuned for more tour stops coming throughout the season.
Welcome back. Final segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. This segment brought to you by blockchain.com.
You knew exactly what I was going to say.
All right, here we go. I found this stat on our Next Gen Stats website, and
We're wearing that thing out, aren't
I know we are, but it's such great information.
It is great.
But this is going to blow your mind. Check this out. Justin Herbert, he has completed 49 of 50 passes for 469 yards and 2 touchdowns on attempts where he is targeting the seams.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever heard a stat like that, because that just means that is deadly for them. How does that match up with the Cowboys and what the Cowboys like to do defensively?
Got anything in mind with the linebacker play?
That's the first thing popped in my head was the concern with the linebackers.
Right.
I mean, that's what pops into your head immediately, because when you hear a stat like that, you immediately think of the linebackers and you say, okay, well, what's their coverage ability, right? And LVE, quiet as it's kept, is not bad at coverage. Yeah. And you're going to lose that. And they're going to attack the seams. 49 out of 50 is insanity.
Yeah.
That is lethality. And so that means you're going to have to get some help from those safeties and covering those seams. You don't have a choice. Otherwise, that 49-50 is going to become...
You got three of them.
Yeah, you got three. So because of what's going on with the Cowboys linebackers, you're going to have to get safety help for that.
It's hard to... Like right now, I'm questioning everything, even the things that were good. You know, like even the good times, I'm questioning that. Was I
what I say earlier
in some other state of mind?
Like, it's like you're getting divorced and you got cheated on.
You start
you question everything.
Yeah,
so
a butt kicking will do that to you.
Well, and I'm going back like, okay, Dan Quinn, I love him. Let me hold on to that love and respect and appreciation for his knowledge and ability to make things happen. But when you come off 2 games where the defense played a certain way, now you start questioning, okay, can they do that again? Or can they adapt? Or can they figure it out despite the injuries or the lack of depth that they currently have? So it's very hard to visualize right now, but then I keep trying to remember the good times.
Well, the problem you're running into now in trying to remember the good times is 2 out of the last 3 games. Mm-hmm. Defense has been really been attacked, you know, and they've kind of figured things out in the second half of the Arizona game until they gave up the 69-yard pass to Wilson. They had things kind of in control. But last week, that tests your resolve a little bit of like, oh, whoa, what's going on here?
What do you think that does to your confidence for a group like this? Like we've always seen them very confident and you know, competitive guys that come out and play at a very high level. But coming off the beatdown against the 49ers, what do you think that does to this group's confidence?
Well, I don't know if it has anything to do with confidence. It has to do with maybe there's some players on that defense that masked some issues that you really had. Maybe.
Oh, there's no maybe about it.
Maybe, yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe the fact that Micah Parsons is one of the best deodorant sticks you've ever had. When there's been stink, you know, you put the deodorant on and you don't stink anymore. Yeah. Or maybe Tank Lawrence or Oso Diggy,
or maybe the way offenses attack you with Diggs
or
is
Diggs
different.
Or Diggs. Maybe
and
Diggs
not
was
on the field.
Maybe Diggs was the great deodorant too.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when the thing that worries me, if we could circle back about what Patrick was talking about, or you were talking about the seams and the linebackers, is the fact that you saw the other day, and I don't know really if it's a seam pass, but the way that Kittle got across into an area where it went middle to seam, and all of a sudden you're not seeing it right. You're not, and we all were kind of having questions like, is that Hooker's guy, or is Bell supposed to carry that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all of a sudden, if you have a quarterback that's, what was the word used? Lethality? What was it?
Lethality.
Lethality?
Yeah, it's
impressive.
Just lethality.
Lethal, you're done.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. You just worry, is that something that now other teams are going to see?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, well, hey, they can't deal with drop depth of the linebacker. Wait, the safety's looking at two different things. They're getting put in bad spots. I could say the great deodorant is Micah Parsons sacking the guy before it gets to being that problem in the secondary.
Yep.
Or somebody sacking that guy before it gets to be a problem in the secondary.
Yeah.
So
when you look at that, Brian, I look at it and I'm like, this is not just a one-game problem. We've seen throughout this year, even in some of the games where they won, where receivers just get lost. Like there's the defense kind of loses them, and what we've heard from them in the post game has been
Jets game.
Communication. Yeah, communication just wasn't right. I mean, in the Arizona game, you got a guy that's just wide open, and again, it was a crossing type route, and they just lost him, and that's one of those situations where I am getting a little bit concerned. And you talk about what the players are thinking. I do start to wonder if the players start thinking like there's too much that they're thinking about, and maybe in some respects they're going to have to dial this down a little bit to simplify things a bit, because there is this lack of communication or understanding or something in these moments in games where you're getting guys who are just getting wide open because they're just busted plays, and they're busted plays in the secondary.
Well, other than the injuries, it makes me wonder, what game was it? Was it against Arizona where like guys looked confused, or like Micah was lining up?
It was Arizona,
was it Arizona?
And he was looking at LVE like, where,
Yeah.
Hands
so
up, like,
it just makes me wonder what is different, really, aside from injuries. Like, what is different when you had such a connected, tight group in sync? And by that, I'm specifically talking about when they're on the field acting and everybody reacting. We talked about, like, literally starting the season, how every single player was having a good day. Everyone made a play, tackle, got the ball, did something, and it was all around an unanimous great effort from everybody. But then all of a sudden you start seeing games like that, like, aside from obviously the opponent and what they're doing, when it comes to communication and all of that, what has changed?
What's changed in those two losses, what I pinpointed was the fact that the Cowboys have so many quote-unquote dogs on the defensive side of the ball that when they get down and out, everybody wants to be the hero. Yeah. Everybody's chasing the big play. That's the difference. When you're blowing out the New York Giants, you don't have to chase the big play. You just get to play football, and then you can go out there and kick some butt. Same thing against the New York Jets. Same thing against the New England Patriots. But when you start struggling and get punched in the mouth by the Cardinals, and then and your offense is also struggling, and now you start feeling that pressure to score defensively and get those extra takeaways, you're trying to be the guy to do it on the very next play. Well, then maybe you're too aggressive on your pursuit for a tackle, and then you chase the wrong shoulder, and now it's, to the house, or whatever the case may be. So in those losses, this is why it's key that the Cowboys, well, I should say it this way, that's why one of the biggest keys for the Cowboys' continued success is they have to play from in front as opposed to behind, because once they start playing from behind, everybody wants to be the hero. And yes, you have a defense full of guys who can be the hero, but the more you chase the big play, the less likely it is you will get the big play. What's more likely is that you're going to give up the big play.
All right, let's get our picks. See what everybody thinks is going to happen this week. Cowboys travel to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers Monday Night Football. Amber, what do you say?
Sure, I'll start.
Begrudgingly?
Holding on to the good times and to the stat of holding on to that and holding on to the stat of that the Cowboys are 9-1. Or
10-1.
I think that's 10-1 of wins after a loss. So they have shown a tendency to be able to come back and win after they get beaten.
Both. They got bit and they got beaten.
Both apply. But I'm choosing a victory. I'm choosing a win for the Cowboys. I think we will get a tight, like a close game score, maybe something like 23-20.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a game-winning field goal for the Cowboys. I think Aubrey's going to have to knock one home. It might have to be for some distance. I think it's one of those games where I've got this vibe. I keep hearing the number keeps going in my head of 27, 28, something like that.
You're doing the fortune teller thing.
Yeah, that's what
Tap of the forehead. You're doing the fortune teller thing.
I'm gonna go Dallas 27-24 in this one.
All right.
I thought the Cowboys had a good chance of escaping with a close win against San Francisco, but I knew that would be a tough one, and I thought it'd be emotionally draining. And I said it out loud, off the air, but I said they're going to win in San Francisco, and that's going to cost them the Chargers. But Brian made an excellent point, I think, last week when he said you typically lose the ones you aren't supposed to lose, and you win the ones you're not supposed to win. I think that they now flips. They lost against San Francisco, and in the fashion in which they did, they have no choice but to bounce back. I believe wholeheartedly the defense will bounce back. I don't think they want that reputation of getting their butt kicked 2 weeks in a row. Offense,
heading into the bye.
Right, and heading into the bye. Offense, I don't know yet. So because I don't know about the offense, this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think the Cowboys win it on an Aubrey kick. I agree with you there, but I think it's 20-17. I think defense does their job. Offense, I don't know yet.
Yeah. There's a side of me that could have very easily picked the Chargers in this game.
I think we
Very
all think it's
easily.
going to be a close game, however it goes.
I just don't trust the offense right now,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. And I just did because of the 10-1. I think there's some merit to that. That's just not hollow numbers. They do find a way to play better.
Right.
They better find a way to play better, because if they're 3-3 coming back, there's going to be some hell to pay in that off week.
Especially if the Eagles continue to win, they're going to start getting distance, putting a gap and putting space between 1 and 2. Yeah. So
I also agree Cowboys win, but I think it's a very close game.
Yep.
I think it's a lower scoring game. I have it 17-16. It's going to be it's going to be a defensive game, really. I think, because like you said, Patrick, I've not seen anything yet that gives me confidence that this offense is there. And so I think this is going to be a game where it's going to have to be the defense, and they're going to have to make some plays, and I think they will. I think they'll respond well, and the history is on their side. And like what they've done over the last 2.5 years, is we know when they lose, they come back the next week and they give a really great effort, and they usually get a win.
Better figure it out.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens this Monday. Till then, for Patrick Walker, Brian Broaddus, Amber Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?